let's talk with Lisa in Colorado first. Lisa, you say that you're trying to figure out how to maybe start deconstructing or deconverting your faith and maybe the things that are holding you back.
Lisa? Oh, what if we're still muted to
We
callers?
are still muted.
Oh, we're still so muted to callers.
We were muted to callers this whole time.
My bad. I apologize.
Lisa, please do not feel bad. That was totally on our end.
Yeah, that's
hello,
my fault.
welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. That is one of the shortest waits I've had in my whole life.
Well, that's good. That is good. You called in early, which means you get primo airtime. Lisa, what can we help you with today? What's your question?
Well, I'm calling as a follow-up to a conversation that you and that you folks had with me back last year on Talk Heathen.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I think it was back in February. I don't remember for certain. But the title that the thumbnail video ended up with was "Feeling Betrayed by God," and I had described myself. I had been raised as Lutheran, and then in my teens, my family switched to Pentecostal. So I'm just trying to give a quick little background on that, just as a bit of reference. And anyhow, one of the things I did shortly after speaking with you folks on Talk Heathen is I ended up calling Freedom from Religion and speaking with somebody there. And one of the things that person and I discussed was what I identified as the most, I don't even know how to put it. What is making it extra difficult for me to go through this deconstructing process? What's the main thing that's holding me to religion, specifically Christianity? And back then, at that time, I said the one and only thing that's tying me to faith is the fear of hell. However, what I've discovered recently, and it's as a result of all this just ongoing journey of exploring things and investigating things, what I've come to realize is the issue of hell. Sure, that can be very frightening, but it turns out it is completely incidental to what really is tying me to faith.
Oh, okay.
And it's such a, I hate to use the word revelation, but I have to admit that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
And it turns out that what was even more deeply ingrained in me from day one, even more ingrained than the whole issue of hell and all that, is the fact that faith, in a sense, or at least as I was raised on it, it kind of gives you a purpose, and it makes you believe that maybe there is a reason for everything that happens, or why certain things happen at the perfect time. So what I've come face to face with recently is the realization that the fact that may not be true. There may not be a plan, or there may not be an overseer, helping you through life and things like that. And this is something I was completely unaware of in terms of myself.
Yeah.
That is a much stronger issue to process through and to possibly deconstruct. And because that realization is impacting me so heavily, I thought this might be a good time to call up you folks and chat about this and see what thoughts you might have, just in case maybe you've gone through something similar.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm all ears.
Yeah, honestly, Lisa, that is a huge revelation. And yeah, absolutely use that word, because that's what that is. I think that one of the benefits of having stories more accessible from people who have left a faith, especially Christianity here in the US, is that we get to hear some of these stories. We get to hear like, oh, it was the fear of hell that kept me there for so long. And that can be very helpful, but it can also point you in the wrong direction when you are coming to terms with it yourself. And if you're like, oh, something must be holding me back, I'm feeling like I can't get through this, maybe it's this thing that I've heard other people dealing with, or maybe this is the issue, but you've gone beyond that and you've actually identified what is actually keeping you from fully letting go of this. And by itself, that is huge. And I think that you've made enormous progress, it sounds like, even from the year that we've spoken.
Yeah.
I do want to kind of validate that particular fear as well, because the fear of hell is objectively awful for anybody who has to deal with it. The fear of purposelessness, of there not being a plan or the promise that everything is going to work out just fine, is also horrifying. That is not a lesser fear. It's not something that is easier to get over. It is just as terrifying to come to that realization, maybe even more so because you are living in this life that prior to this realization, you thought there was a driver in the driver's seat. It turns out that there isn't. So now the panic kind of sets in. So I do want to validate that as well, that this is a reasonable and very rational fear to have as you're coming out of this. Eric, I know that you were like really vibing with this as she was talking. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I mean, the first is I did absolutely wanted to do that. I wanted to validate that it is such a big deal. And I've talked to a number of people. Heck, I've talked to some Christian apologists, like pastors, who have said, oh, what convinced me to stay a Christian was the idea of not having purpose. And it was just a fear of confronting that idea. And they were so proud of it. Like, oh, that's why I believe in God. And it doesn't, on reflection, it really doesn't make any sense. You find yourself in a position where now you need to contend with something you never had to contend with before. But there are a couple of things that after having gone through it, I would love to give you a couple of tools that helped me.
Oh, marvelous.
Cool. So the first is this idea that if you don't have a purpose given to you, then everything is worthless. There's no point and might as well pack it in. And that carries so much packaged into it that you do not need to accept that. And hearing that from other people, all that means is they haven't thought about it very hard. The idea that you need to live according to somebody else's script, number one, removes all of your autonomy. It doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what you strive toward. You're just some automaton if you're living by someone else's grand design. But if instead, and I don't like Kant very much as a philosopher, but if you look up Kant, the way he talks about people as means and ways, and viewing people as givers of purpose, I think that's a great place to go. It's not so much that you need to search for someone else to give you purpose or some other plan to give you purpose, but when you give yourself purpose, it's scary, but when you act on that purpose and you see yourself growing towards the ends that you've created for yourself, it is rewarding in a way, Lisa, that I never knew about. It is truly an amazing thing. And I highly encourage you to give that a shot, because it is so nice to look at a thing and go, you know what? This has value in my life. This person I love has value in my life. This, whatever I'm doing, I find value in it, and I'm giving it that value. And because of that, it is enough. And it really is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm very encouraged by that. I'd hate to say that was a marvelous sermon. I don't want to do that to you, but no, I'm just saying. Well, I guess a good way to express it is to say thank you for that, because I'm already experiencing value from what you just said right now.
Yay! Then it has worth. And you know what? The fact that it has worth to you, Lisa, is wonderful. You are giving value to that, and I sincerely appreciate that. That gives me warm fuzzies. I'm glad. In fact, other kind of philosophers, you're looking at nihilism. You're looking down the barrel of nihilism here. I suggest, if you're the reading type, to read Albert Camus, the Myth of Sisyphus. It's this idea of absurdism, that you do something knowing that there's not a grand purpose or a grand design, but that it's a value that you give things. And it's not that you think that you're somehow, giving grand purpose to things. You know that on some, galactic scale, we're just a blink of an eye. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to enjoy our lives the way we want to enjoy our lives and make the best of it. And I don't know. I really enjoy that philosophy personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you. Eric, I was wondering if you could please repeat the name of the first person you mentioned, because I didn't hear that name clearly. It was a philosopher, I believe.
Kant.
Oh, okay. I don't believe I've ever heard of that person.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Kant actually was a religious person. He believed that God gave us purpose. So treat that as you will. But the idea that we in turn give things purpose, right? We view each other as purpose givers, is something that I really, really like. So again, I'm not going to say take all of it, but
well, that's a whole mental shift that also happened to me, where I realized that I could take bits and pieces from different philosophies and different worldviews, and I didn't have to adopt one person as the ultimate source of truth, right? So yeah, if that's what inspires you about Kant, take that and then go find something else that works with that piece of inspiration and build your worldview from there. It's a journey, but it's so worth it.
Oh, and attack the hell out of it. I mean, really, when you find something that feels good, that's the time to just pummel it to death. And if it can stand up, it feels a lot more comfortable holding those positions, because you really put them through the ringer. You should see the way we do that in our house. It's intense, but we do our best. V will come up with something, or I'll come up with something, and the other person will just hammer that idea for a little while and
see if it survives.
Yeah.
Lisa, one more thing before we let you go, and that is just, there is a reason why certain religions like to rely on the idea of a plan and things all working out for the best. And part of it is because it does feel better to feel that way and to believe that. But it also serves a second purpose. And that purpose is to keep you complacent. And so if you can go through your life believing that everything's going to be okay, things might be rough now, but they'll work out, there is a chance you're not going to do something about it. And that's the goal, is to keep you from going out and doing a thing on your own to make things better. And so when you come to this revelation that you have that, oh, maybe there isn't someone in the driver's seat, maybe this isn't part of a plan, what that does is that breaks those shackles for you. And that allows you to go say, all right, so what am I going to do about it? Even if it's just being a little bit of a nicer person today to like a stranger, or, donating $5 to this charity, or whatever it might be, you taking ownership of that plan and saying, okay, I disagree with how things are going. I'm going to go do something about it is one of the most empowering things.
Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. Because you're not waiting for the plan to come to fruition that somebody else put into place.
You are going to go make a plan and make the world a better place yourself. And I think that's amazing. So do with that as you will. Thank you so much for calling back in. We loved hearing a little bit of an update, and it sounds like you're making great progress.
And thank you for following us over. We're glad that you found us.
Oh, so am I. I was wondering, I didn't see you on Talk Heathen anymore, and I was wondering what happened. But then good old YouTube just popped up one of your videos.
Nice.
And I said, okay, great. I found Eric and me again. So let me just call and chat.
Yay.
Well, it was enjoyable to get to talk to you again. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, folks. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
What a sweet person.
Yeah.
That was really nice. That gave me good warm fuzzies.
I like that she said it. You gave her a little bit of a sermon. You do go into sermon voice.
You know?
You would have been a good like
pastor.
Like not senior pastor, but like the one that they tap for the special occasions. That like all of
the one that comes out when the music gets low and they start passing the hat.
Yeah. All of the older folks would just like swoon, be like, oh, it's Eric. A little bit of a crush. A little bit of a
oh no.
pastor crush.
You're biased though. You like me.
That's fair.